Hey everyone, it's Rich Bennett. Can you believe it? The show is turning 10 this year. I am so grateful for each and every one of you who've tuned in, shared an episode, or even joined the conversation over the years. You're the reason that this podcast has grown into what it is today. Together, we've shared laughs, tears, and moments that truly matter. So I want to thank you for being part of this journey. Let's make the next 10 years even better.
Coming to you from the Freedom Federal Credit Union Studios, Harford County Living presents Conversations with Rich Bennett.
Slow pitch or fast
It's probably the least sexy part of the work, and I don't know. It's okay. No. It's fine. The truth is,
I am joined by two of my co-hosts today, Greg and Robyn. And Greg contacted me, said, Rich, you have to get this young lady on. So again.
Wow, he called me young.
Of course. Of course. Yeah, like with Greg and any of my co-hosts, if they tell me to do something, I jump and say, how high? So it's like, oh, okay, get it booked. So we have Katie Ramirez, and Katie has been in the nonprofit sector for how long now?
Probably like 25 years working. My whole life, really. So I'm
All right, so 30 years.
Sure, we'll go with 30. Well, yeah, I guess my adult life. Yes, my adult life. Always been a very philanthropic. I've always just had that love for, just giving back.
Civic minded.
My mom instilled that in me. I will never forget, we used to do when March of Dimes did the really long walk. Well, yeah, that too. But the long walk, and they did it at Harford Community College, and we would walk like up Churchville Road. I mean, it was like 13 some miles. And here's what I remember. I had chicken pox, okay? And my mom was like, you're not getting out. A long time ago. And I remember my mom, like, she was so adamant that she gave each of us a goal, each of me and my sisters a goal to raise money. And we had to raise the money, and we had to do the walk. And I was just getting over my chicken pox, and I was just not in the mood. And my mom made me do it, okay? And I was not happy, but I did it. And I'll tell you, like, I think that kind of stuck with me is like, when you're doing something for a charity, you gotta follow through.
We always did the carnivals.
That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah,
The March of Dimes
We're really
carnivals.
telling our age, but
Yes,
Yep.
I remember that too.
we did the
So I
carnivals
did
every year.
And by the way, I did work at March of Dimes too. That was one
Right, I remember that. Yeah,
I worked
I
there
saw that.
for 5 years. But yeah, I remembered all the things.
Our whole court got together and we did a carnival every year. In the
And I
And
remember.
you guys know Jesse Bain, right?
Oh, yeah.
Jesse was our ambassador here in Harford County because he had polio, so he
I didn't realize that.
yeah, he's a polio survivor, so he would be our ambassador here when we would do our walk here in Harford County.
Wow.
Yeah,
Do they
come and
even
speak.
do the carnivals anymore?
I don't do. I mean, I think they only do they do a large walk in Baltimore,
Right.
and I mean they might do some local stuff, but they don't even do the walk here now.
I think
was it March of Dimes that had the little? It looked like a milk container.
No,
You
they
wouldn't-
had the little like
The slits to put the dimes
yeah,
in.
the slits for the dimes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there was one
That was how they got started.
that-
the dimes.
that
Like
we
a
had to
flip
walk
flop.
around at Halloween.
Yeah,
that we
that
walked
was March of
around it.
Dimes
It might have been
too.
March.
I think it was
Oh,
March
no,
of
it was
Dimes.
Easter seals.
I was gonna say,
Easter
a lot of
eggs,
people
right.
did I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, so
It's-
sorry.
But
I
it's
digress,
funny
but-
how a lot of you and we're going to get on what you wanted to talk about here in a minute, Greg. But it's funny because all four of us have been in the nonprofit world for a long time. But a lot of the nonprofits that used to do the things like the carnivals and all have gotten away from it. And I've mentioned this a lot because with the Special Olympics, we were always huggers. I don't even
Always.
think they have huggers anymore.
Our parents started us off very civic minded at a very. I mean, I never
Very
remember
young age.
not.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Not. I mean,
Same.
we had to volunteer
Yep.
all the time, but
All the
they
time.
were also volunteers in
Yeah.
everything. But I
Everything,
mean,
yeah.
as little kids, we had to
Yeah.
go be huggers.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
great.
and yeah, I still have
There was
my
that Baltimore
children as well.
accent. Did you
I
hear
heard
it.
it. Yeah, that time I heard it. Hugger.
Every once in a while.
So great. What was it that we wanted to hit on?
Well, I was thinking about, this conversation
Huggers.
and how, I mean, as you may know, I'm a big picture thinker.
Mhm.
All right. So I'm looking at the big picture and just, how nonprofits got started in this country. Our system of government created a free market capitalist system that allowed driven people to be successful and become wealthy in this country. And a lot of those people had the hearts and minds to give back to society. So you look at the J.D. Rockefellers of the world, the Andrew Carnegies. We were talking locally, George Peabody, Johns Hopkins, here in Harford County. And speaking of George Peabody, he's credited with creating the first nonprofit organization in America. In 1867, he created the Peabody Education Fund. Locally, we're familiar with the library and all the what's the other? Is it the art? Not the arts, or it was
the arts. I mean,
yeah. But anyway, so he created the Peabody Education Fund in 1867 to help rebuild the educational system in the South after the Civil War.
My sister remembers that. She was on the board back then. Love you, sis.
It's good to be on board.
He's off the Christmas list.
Santa can never be off the list.
But I just think how it's great that those guys started, a
trend,
an expectation for if you build wealth and you're successful, you give back. And that, look at the Bill Gates and, the Warren Buffetts, they're continuing that tradition in America.
A majority of your business owner, well, I don't want to say majority of your business owners. A lot of business owners also start nonprofits, which I think is very important.
Sure.
I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Well, and you also think about
it has tax implications too. So
yeah,
that's always good.
It's always on loopholes, right?
But think about how nonprofits touch everybody, and I was just going through, talking about curing diseases. March of Dimes, Rotary was one of the organizations that raised money to eradicate polio.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's one of.
Well, yeah, because when I was at March of Dimes, the Rotary were always the volunteers we went to to get help. So.
But even did you learn to swim at a YMCA? Did you learn life lessons through Scouts or through a sports rec league?
Lions Club with the glasses.
We just had her, no, not great-granddaughter, granddaughter. Granddaughter. I had to think for it's my great niece, but her granddaughter, her Girl Scout troop just did a big thing.
They did a
at Richardson
symposium
Farms on life-saving techniques, and the stuff that I learned there blew me away.
Sound like Family's Heart and Soul Foundation.
Things have changed. I learned very quickly. We both learned very quickly. You no longer put butter on a burn, and Vicks doesn't heal everything. And, and there's peanut allergies everywhere. So.
Well, and CPR is different now. It's not.
Oh, yeah.
CPR is
different. Right.
Hence why people need to get.
So it was mostly
CPR back
grandparents that were there. We don't install car seats properly. But, and the Girl Scouts had to come up with this to earn their bronze badge. And so they were like, well, my grandmother does this and my grandmother does that.
Geez.
And of course, my granddaughter said, well, my mom tried to kill me twice.
She did. I mean, she didn't try to kill her. I mean, that's what her granddaughter said.
That was her perception.
That's her perception because she has developed a nut allergy. And
and you gave her...
I might not have asked the right questions in her.
Sure.
Whatever.
Sure.
But something I found out about that, too, not Ozempic, was the
EpiPen?
EpiPen.
Mm-hmm.
It's what they say is the same prescription for all allergies, but magic word there being prescription.
Yeah.
Narcan you can get for free.
From the health department and wherever.
But look how many different allergies there are. Restaurants, I think everybody should be carrying these things.
It's a good idea.
Don't. And they're expensive.
I see what you're saying.
And they should be available in the restaurants.
Sounds like there's a new nonprofit on the
right.
Well, but hold on. Remember what we talk about. Before you start a nonprofit, look to see if there's another one already in existence.
Yes,
exactly.
But that is an interesting point, though, about... Because again,
I didn't know.
I mean, obviously, we have to have AEDs, we have, CPR certification, but that become.
But anyway, my point is the evolution of nonprofits in our society contribute to our quality of life.
Yeah.
And
absolutely
eradicate diseases, to, having community theater groups, just, from a arts and quality of life, so
Providing knowledge.
And doing things that the government shouldn't do. Like that, I'm more of a government minimalist.
Right.
And would rather have the government fund nonprofits through grants.
That's what I was going to say.
But
it's the private funding, though, that really helps fuel, I think, and drives the missions of the nonprofits.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Grants are amazing. And
right.
Grants go away too.
Thank
they're
you.
short term.
And that's something that is something that I am trying to do. And it's interesting because this comes up in a lot of the conversations I have with nonprofits. When I sit down with a nonprofit, so now I do my own consulting with different nonprofits. And when I sit down with them, I look at their portfolio, and if they're 90% grant driven, I talk to them about that because those grants can go away, especially if they're coming from, state or federal. Those grants could go away. And if you have 90% of your funding go away.
Because it can depend on the whims of whoever the elected leader is at that point in time.
We said we're not going to talk politics, but.
Well, but it's just from the standpoint of supporting nonprofits.
Absolutely.
It is
very
true. And I want to bring up the addiction part here because we have a lot of different resources here. And Wendy couldn't make it today, but a lot of different resources just in the county alone. And a lot of them are relying on that opioid restitution fund, which in the past had been divided with those nonprofits. Now, I think that last year or 2 years ago, whatever, when it came through, it was only given to one organization.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, all those other nonprofits were struggling. To try. And that's the other, I know I agree with you with raising the funds privately, through the community, which you have to do. But it's hard because you have
saturation.
700 different nonprofits just in Harford County?
Well, so that is something else so Greg and I talk about this all the time. And again, another thing so I not only look at their portfolio as a whole. Okay, so if 90% of their funds are coming from grants, let's look how we can diversify. But also, what types of events are you doing?
Yeah.
You're doing a 5K in September? Okay, let's look at the 8,000 other, right? Because we are a small community here in Harford County. I think we are a very giving community. I will say, like now that I'm hyper focused and working with nonprofits in Harford County, I am actually amazed at how much support there is for all these different nonprofits. But to your point, let's look at what events we're doing and do they make sense? Because we can only do so many bingos. We can only do so many golf tournaments in the months of September and October. And every nonprofit wants to do a golf tournament.
And then bull and oyster roasts.
And then, right. All the things. And so it's like, you have to look at, are these events profitable? Right. Do they make sense? What are the demographics? And then, if it works, great. If not, you have to think about, there's lots of opportunities to raise funds privately. It doesn't always have to be through events because events are very taxing. Very time consuming, and
stressful too.
Stressful.
How many times with Open Doors when we did the boards, how stressful was that at times?
Oh, awful. And I worked at Harford Day. And so we had a lot of, events that was my whole job.
And sometimes, too, it's like you have to look at the ROI, right? Because you're like, I did an event, it raised $20,000. But then you look at, okay, how many people, look at every single person, right? Every single person helping, that's, that is an expense. You have to look at the overall and say, right, was it worth, or could I do something else that could bring in $20,000?
And there's only so many golfers in the county. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Golf tournaments for some reason.
Yeah, they still work.
Everyone wants to take a day off work and go golfing.
The thing is, people are getting creative. Like the chamber just had their mini
golf.
golf.
Yeah,
right.
Which is brilliant.
And X golf. Everybody does stuff
the
at X golf.
virtual golf tournament.
So the weather doesn't matter. So I will say, golf tournaments are not, in my opinion, are not as stressful. I don't know, because
there's different ways you could do it now.
Yeah, there's different ways you can do it. And the golf pros know what they're doing. So you just kind of let the golf pros run the golf.
That's true.
You bring in the
bull
revenue.
and oyster roasts are, they're stressful, but I think those are also dying off. I think
there's
people
less
are coming
places
up with
to do them in.
Well, especially here in Harford County. Yeah. But you're seeing people doing other things instead, whether it be dinners.
I was going to say, like boutique style fundraisers are becoming more popular.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
So wine dinners, smaller amounts of people with larger return. Right. So really focusing on, doing something where you're bringing the donor in for a very special opportunity. Maybe it's because it's with a chef that they, have been wanting to get in front of, or maybe it's with a speaker who
We've
they want to
talked
get
at
in front
Rotary
of.
about doing a farm-to-table dinner.
Farm-to-table
Yeah.
dinners are
Oh,
huge.
yeah.
Yes. And honestly, you can make more money. It's less stressful because you're talking 50 people as opposed to, 150.
Well,
Even less than that, even
with that, do
sometimes.
you think some nonprofits struggle because when it comes to doing events like that, they're afraid to ask for all the money?
Yes.
Prime example, like, I mean, if I did something like that, I'm going to sell tickets $100 a head, a person. Some people say, oh, that's too much. You can only do it for $25.
It depends
And
on
your
your
Depends on your
target audience.
Targeted
Right.
audience.
But
Yeah.
with that, I think a lot of people also, when it comes to fundraisers, they're taking out that D. When people are trying to run a fundraiser, it's to raise funds. And instead they want to have fun doing it. Which
It's a great point.
I like that.
Yeah.
Don't take out the D.
I mean, don't
No, it
be
is very true. And that's what I sort of try to coach and educate, these
Yeah.
nonprofits is that, right, like this, yes, of course you want to bring in awareness. You want your audience to have a good time, but right, this is a fundraiser. So if it's not raising you funds, then you need to either pivot or look at the event and figure out what can you do differently. If the event's working and it's bringing the people, okay, great. But how do we add to that? How do we make sure?
So is it
that
important for an event to have a budget?
It is very important for an event to have a budget. Yes. Right. And again, you have to look at both revenue and expenses, because it's one thing to say we raised $60,000, and then when I'm like, well, what were your expenses? $58,000. I'm like, you raised $2, but okay. I mean, so again, I'm not saying, like, there are events that are very, very successful from a standpoint of, wow, they brought a lot of people. It was fun. But if it's not raising funds and that is your goal, how can we, again, just pivot to a different event or make this event an actual
Profitable.
fundraiser?
Yeah.
That's why it's always important to have you at the beginning of that fiscal year. Actually, take it back. Not the beginning of the fiscal year. At the end of the fiscal year, have a budget meeting about the upcoming year and what your budget's going to be. Believe me, I argue that point a lot.
And who should be participating in those meetings? Board members. So that is why it's
Board
very
members
important to
and
have
committee members.
and committee members.
Right,
So
who's
that's
ever
why
run
it's
a committee.
important to have a strong board and a strong committee.
And
that's
an
something that we
involved
talk about.
board and
an
not
involved
shelf
board.
sitters.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh.
So what's an example of the types of people that should be on a board?
Oh, okay. So I have you just brought up don't take the D out of fundraising. So I have a little thing that I use for when you're recruiting for boards and bringing in board, and it's the 3 Ds. Okay. So you should always have doers, donors, and door openers. You should have all 3. Now, some people can be all 3. You could have someone who is both a doer, which again, those are the people that roll their sleeves up.
Right.
And when you need a volunteer, they're at every single event. We love those people.
We used to use the 3 T's.
Oh, what are the 3 T's? Let's go. We got D's and T's.
Time, talent, and treasure.
Yeah.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so true because again, trust me, I've worked with so many different boards, and I've had board members who they come to meetings. They write me a check for $50,000. I'm happy with them because they are contributing.
Yeah.
I have other board members who, again, are the ones who I know I can count on. They're going to be at every single event, but they financially aren't giving as much. Now, I am a firm believer that you should always have on a board a give and get, give or get. I firmly believe
If you can't give the money, give your time.
Go get it. Right. Or go get the money. Right. So, okay,
And that's
you
the door
can't
opener
financially. That's the
piece,
door
the
opener.
connector.
So, okay, you personally, I mean, again, I've had some great board members who personally have never given me a dime, but have gotten me 10 other people who have given me that money. They know people. So that's important too. So again, I think everyone brings value to the table, but
Should bring.
should bring. Right. I was just going to say
Should bring.
should and could, but it's
Which
also
is-
a matter of how we are keeping them engaged, because I think sometimes we bring people on and we're like, yay, I have a board, right? And then in between board meetings, there's no communication. So it's it goes both ways. The nonprofit itself has to keep whoever the executive director is, the development director, whoever that is, needs to keep that board engaged because, think about it. If you're on a lot of boards, Greg, I mean, if you just came to a board meeting and they didn't talk to you in between, I mean, you've got a lot going on in your life. You're like, wait, what? There's a board meeting? It's
No, you need to keep them engaged.
I also
and show gratitude.
I want to add something to that too. Not for the nonprofit part, but when somebody comes to you and approaches you about joining an organization or becoming a board member or whatever, it's okay to say no. I was having a
Yeah.
conversation not too long ago, just talking about all the different boards and organizations, committees I'm on. I thought it was 7. It was over 15. I was like,
Wow.
Like, what?
holy cow, I need to step down from some of these because, in all
Yeah.
honesty, with me being president of the Lions Club, I think I was losing focus on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it dilutes the value that you're providing to the
Right.
ones that are important.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I got to step down. But there are some other ones that I will not step down for because my heart's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Rage Against Addiction.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
want to do everything I can
Yeah.
to help those in recovery.
Well, and then the other thing when I asked about how to develop a board, it's also, bringing certain subject matter expertise. It's, you don't want, you want a banker, you want a lawyer, you want a
Yes.
CPA, you want
probably even a
And
marketer.
skills and talent,
Absolutely.
a variety of skills and
Well, I mean,
talents.
I actually have a nonprofit I'm working for, and he asked me to join his board, and he said, because I want to have you as our consultant on the board. And I went to my first meeting with them last night, and to be frank, it was great that I was there because now I'm understanding that side of it, the volunteer leadership side of it, and it actually is
It's a great
I think
idea.
it was.
Yeah.
So I give him all the credit.
Cool.
He asked me to be on his
That's
board.
great.
So, but yeah, and not for nothing, family members can be great board members, and I know it needs to be written into the bylaws, if you want to put a wife or a spouse or whatever, but you don't just put family members on the board just because you need to fill seats, because that can get tricky. Because then there can be some nuances in having family members. So anyway, that's a tricky one. But they can also be, look at Polly and BJ have been running, Pathfinders for Autism for 25 years and are killing it. So, it can be done. But I think some nonprofits, they start their nonprofit, they know they have to have a board, and they're like, oh, I'm going to bring my, my niece and nephew because
Best friend.
right, my best friend, right?
Because they're breathing.
Right. Because they're breathing. Right. So it is. It's it's an education.
In that type of scenario, it's usually someone that is starting a nonprofit for some altruistic reason or because of some cause or mission that resonates with them, and their family and friends
absolutely
believe in that mission as well.
Absolutely.
So I get.
I totally get it. And there's and obviously, yes, if people are someone's starting a nonprofit because of something very personal for them, the family's going to be involved. So again, is the board the right fit? I guess is just the question. Should they? And to your point, like having a conversation about it, because as a family member, you're probably going to say yes just because you're like, well, shoot, I should be on the board, right? But let's really talk about what does that mean? What does your role on the board mean? And if the board isn't the right fit, maybe they can be on the committee for the 5K. Maybe they can be on the committee for something else. Or like you brought up marketing. I mean, if somebody's really good at social media, there's a younger family member who's going to let them do all the social media, because Lord knows that's...
Why does everybody have to point to us? A younger generation.
Look,
hey, it was the baby boomers that invented this, okay?
I also think
I'm just going to keep it real.
It's really important for potential board members to understand what their expectation is.
Absolutely.
Because so many, that's great.
Sure.
And but
So
they
have a
they're
board
not
job description?
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
should interview. I mean, a board member should interview for
And
a position.
I like when a board starts out asking someone to be on a committee.
Yes, you should
Start on a committee.
Start on a committee, and then
they always
way
equate it to dating.
I mean,
like you don't.
We get
marry
asked
on
all the
first
time,
date.
and I will say no every single time, because I don't have the time to put in to what I know should be put in.
Sure.
We'll help you with
with
this and that, but absolutely not.
And you're right. Like putting them on a committee first, there's less. It's not as
but they can see how the operation is.
Yeah.
And then it helps you also see how are they as a committee member.
An extended interview.
Right.
Yeah.
As a committee member, did they contribute? Did they roll up their sleeves? Did they, participate? And if the answer is no, then again, maybe the board isn't the right, or maybe it's just not the right time. It's the right time and a right place.
All right. So with that, with putting together a board committee, all that, should the nonprofit have their 501c3 before they put all that into place?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because you do see nonprofits out there that don't have their 501c3 yet or lost it.
Put the cart before the horse, I guess.
Yes.
I mean,
thank
you could be doing it simultaneously, but at the same time, I mean, again, because you want to create bylaws, you want to be able to present.
Right.
I think to be as organized as possible. And to your point, like if you're bringing a board on and you're like, well, come be on my board. Ooh, but I'm still waiting for my 501c3.
Right.
Then you're kind of, it should,
yeah.
like you should be able to sit down. If I'm sitting
Well,
down
you should start with a
Greg,
business plan.
well, you
Thank
should start
you.
with a
Yes.
business. Okay,
Yes.
Greg, this is
Yes.
why. Okay.
But so many people now are like, oh my God, I feel so sorry for them. I'm going to start a board.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's definitely putting the cart way before the
Yeah,
horse.
it doesn't work
Well,
like that.
And I bring that up because through Harford County Living, I always feature a nonprofit of the week. And I almost got burned. There's a couple magazines that did get burned where they featured a nonprofit,
And
but it was a fake nonprofit.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they were collecting money and all that. And then when I contacted them, I said,
It's just
well,
people
do you
think
have
it's a good
'cause
idea.
First thing I do, I always look up on the IRS's website,
Yep.
state charity navigator, all that.
Good.
And I contacted this person. I said, do you have, and this is during COVID. So do you have your 501c3 yet? They said, oh no, I applied, but they said it's going to take at least a year, but I can still raise funds. I'm like, I don't think so.
You can create again. That's the time that you should be using to create your business plan.
Yes,
right,
But
yes.
you cannot. No, but you
Right.
can't.
Or you can, if you're familiar with community foundations, you could
Yes.
use the
Yes.
community
Yeah.
foundation of Harford County,
Yeah.
Right.
and they'll literally walk you through the process
Yeah.
of creating a fund
Correct.
that they
I
hold
mentioned
and
that. Yeah.
But not a
invest,
nonprofit.
but
Yes.
you're not creating a separate nonprofit.
Correct.
So that's something that Greg and I actually were talking about a few weeks ago with
Jen Farrell
Jen
from
Farrell,
the
thank
Community
you.
Foundation, Harford
She's
County.
still there.
and
Oh, yeah.
and so my question to her, because I actually
She's great.
have some friends right now who are sort of on that cusp of, do we start our own nonprofit? And
Right.
I said to them, well, because again, I'm kind of advising them as a friend. Well, let's wait because let's see what else is already out there. Right. If there's
Mhm.
something else out there in that space and you're not quite ready to start your own nonprofit, let's support someone else.
Right.
Or go to the community foundation. Right. They can create the fund. They can manage all the funds. So again, if you go do a 5K, for example, the 5K would be raising money for the community foundation, but you can earmark the dollars
For your
directly
fund.
to your
Restricted.
fund.
Right.
And
So now you don't have to do all. I mean, starting a nonprofit, it is a business, right?
thank
It
you.
is a
Thank you.
business.
Yep.
Right? Like you have
And
to
there's
be
a
able to
lot of
manage
fiduciary
right.
responsibilities.
Yeah.
Like if you,
Right. It is.
some people that want to join a board, that you need to realize you're going to become a fiduciary, and there's legal responsibility.
What?
You become legally responsible for the financial
No, but what was that word you said?
fiduciary.
Fiduciary? Fiduciary?
Oh, good Lord.
Am I not using a Baltimore accent? a nonprofit can have like a financial plan and financial
Yeah.
structures in place,
Yeah.
and liability, and liability
Mhm.
insurance.
Yes.
If I'm being asked to join a board, I'm asking for your, financial policies
Yeah.
and a
Absolutely.
copy of your D&O.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and the bylaws, you need to read what you're you're getting
Yeah.
yourself into. For
Absolutely.
sure.
Right. And
So what's the word of the day?
Fiduciary.
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 So the point is that, yes, so do not put the cart before the horse. And yes, and if someone is so if anyone's listening and they're thinking, wow, I want to start a nonprofit, do your research,
Mhm.
look at because you brought up, again, yes, there are lots of great nonprofits in this county for addiction, but there's a lot of collaboration, I think, in the addiction community, which is amazing. But, not all nonprofits are collaborating. Should they be? Yes.
Yeah.
But, however, before you even think about starting a nonprofit, if you think there's already a resource out there, but you want to collect funds specifically for, again, a cause that's important to you, the
Mhm.
Community Foundation is a great resource. I didn't realize that till we sat down and talked
Well,
with Jennifer.
it
So-
makes sense. I mean, you think about it. If you want to start a nonprofit just to create a scholarship, the Community Foundation
Is
is the way to
Perfect.
go.
Yes.
got it. Yep.
And then you don't have, again, because it's a business. Now,
Yeah.
if you have a full-time job and you don't want to quit your full-time job, to start your nonprofit, this is a way that you can do your philanthropic work, give back to something that's really important to you. Yeah, if scholarships are something you want to do, which a lot of people, that's what they want to do with the funds they raise.
Yeah.
The community foundation's a great way because they'll
manage the books.
Yeah, they'll manage everything.
Yeah.
You can just do the fun because the fundraising is the part that everyone gets excited about. Oh, I want to host a golf tournament. Well, that's great. Host your golf tournament. The funds go to the community foundation.
Earmarked for your fund.
Yeah. It's brilliant, actually.
Yeah.
You're listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. We'll be right back. I've been talking about them for years, and I will keep talking about them. It's a company that I trust for my home exterior needs, Tar Heel Construction Group. When it came time to replace my roof, I didn't hesitate. I called Joe Ayler at Tar Heel Construction Group. They were professional, timely, and most importantly, they did an incredible job. The new roof looks amazing, and I know it'll last for years to come. Their quality and attention to detail are unmatched. But here's the thing. I'm not stopping there. I'm already planning to use them again for my siding and gutters. Why? Because I trust them. Tar Heel Construction Group has earned my loyalty by delivering exactly what they promised. High quality work, excellent communication, and a commitment to customer satisfaction. If you're thinking about tackling any exterior home improvement project, whether it's roofing, siding, or gutters, or even solar, give Tar Heel Construction Group a call. I've used them, and I'll keep recommending them and use them again in the future. Check them out at tarheelconstructiongroup.com or call them today at 410-638-7021. How important is it, whether it be Rotary, now I know, because Rotary lines, they're not technically 501c3s, right?
Well, are we C6?
Does it go through international?
It's through international.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
C6 or
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
C6.
But many clubs like that create their own C3 foundation.
Right, which we did too.
Which Bel-Air
But
Rotary
my question
has.
is, how important is it for like Rotary Lines, even other nonprofits that are 501c3s, to look for members that are interested in running a committee? Because you see, a lot of them will get members, and the members have great ideas, but don't want to lift a finger to run anything.
Yeah. Yeah. That's from a recruitment standpoint. That's where you need to create those expectations. When you join X club, there's an expectation of serving and volunteering and bringing your skills to the table.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes. I mean, again, I think that I do truly believe that there's a role for everyone. Again, there are some people who are just workhorses and will just come to events and volunteer, but they don't want to serve in a leadership type role. And that's okay. But then there's other people who actually do have, and I mean this in a polite way, but there's people who have egos, who do want to have a leadership role because they have an ego, and that's okay as long as they use their ego for good and not
They
evil.
want their obituary to read well.
But there's also people who know how to lead and they know how to organize. There's other people who just don't have that skill set. So again, let's not put somebody in a position of leadership if they don't have that organization. So that's why it's important to interview them at a time and kind of get it. Like if I interviewed Greg, I would quickly know that he is somebody who's going to lead.
Right.
So I'm going to put him in a role. But you're also you're all three. Because, he will also show up and do. So, okay, Greg's an anomaly. But, but you learn quickly what skill sets people have and then put them in the right role. Because
Greg will put fire under everybody's ass,
Greg will
too.
Because, what you brought up earlier is important. Like, you will stay engaged also if you're in if you put me in the wrong position, don't
you're going to lose interest.
Yes, I'm going to lose interest. So put the volunteer in the position that they're going to get excited about because that's going to keep them engaged and they're going to keep wanting to do and give.
Absolutely.
But if you put them in a role, again, don't give somebody social media if they literally don't even have a Facebook page.
Right.
Wrong position, for sure. I've seen that happen, actually. All jokes aside. Well, maybe they had a Facebook page that they hadn't posted in 5 years.
Oh, my God.
So anyway, yes. So lots of important things. And again, I just want to reiterate, though, that I think Harford County, again, I've worked at national nonprofits. I lived in Harford County my whole life, but was working mostly for nonprofits out of Baltimore, national. I've been, traveling. And now with my business, most of my clients are all here in Harford County. And I will say, like, it is such a giving community. And yeah, I'm amazed at like how saturated our community is, but yet I always
keep giving.
People keep giving.
Yeah.
And there is a handful of the same people who give to everything, and God love them. But I am amazed because that's what I keep thinking. Like, wow, you know, you can only have so many golf tournaments. Golfers, I don't think come out and they're everywhere. Any excuse to take a day off of work, I guess, and golf. But
That's called business development.
Well, that's how
it's networking.
It was because of a golf tournament. I found out. Now it's not a local nonprofit, but I found out about a big nonprofit that helps people throughout the country, and that was Roofers in Recovery. And it's only because they had a golf tournament here. I guess they sponsored a hole, and Joe Ayler had to take a picture of him standing next to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe and I went to high school together.
Oh, did you?
Graduated
Oh,
from
I'm
Stilton Wright
sorry.
together.
No, I'm just
we were good
Joe's
friends.
great.
Joe's awesome.
We got in a little bit of trouble.
I contacted that nonprofit to get them on. I didn't tell Joe this. And when the guy said he was coming on, I said, Joe, I need you to co-host this one with me. I mean, it was virtually, but he didn't have any idea at first.
Cool.
And when I told him, how'd you find out about that? Your photo on next to the sign.
Are you familiar with Chep?
You could say that.
Are you familiar with Chip?
Yeah.
Our sister-in-law, Kathy
Oh,
Bennett. That's our sister-in-law.
That's your sister-in-law.
She is.
Stop it.
So we've been familiar with Chip for many, many years.
Love Chep. And
I'll be at their golf tournament.
It's another one that I had no idea, like, the extent of the work that they do.
Yeah.
A
like,
lot.
they're in Cecil County, but they're not in Cecil County. Like,
yeah.
they're
Right.
everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, I met with their, well, I guess
Jack.
I knew. Oh, my God,
Yeah,
Jack.
Jack's great.
And he's one that understands, though. He runs it like it's a business.
Yeah.
Absolutely, he
That's-
does.
I think
And I had that
that's what kills a lot of
conversation.
nonprofits. They don't run it
They
like
don't.
it's a business.
He and I had, we actually
He has
had
a
that,
lot of experience.
a lot of
and
experience.
Yes.
And he's really, I love.
He was a great replacement for her.
I love what
great.
he's doing.
He got money
Yeah.
out of you, didn't he, Robyn?
Yeah. I paid $500 for a Christmas tree.
3-foot Barbie tree.
Hey, it's business, right? It's
Yeah,
business.
but
And you're a giver.
Didn't
I'm
Sean
like-
end up getting?
He ended up buying tickets for a concert of somebody he's never heard of in the, what's it called? The mosh pit.
Yeah.
And after he's like, he was laughing at me about the tree, and then he buys these tickets. Jack is
Jack is
good
very
at what he
convincing.
does. And he goes, what did I just buy? I said, I don't know. Tickets to somebody.
I
He
was
goes,
gonna say that is a sign of a very successful
like,
event. When
who
people
are
go-
they? I'm like, I don't know who they are. And he goes, well, you paid $500 for a tree. And I said, well, you just paid $500 to not have a chair. 'Cause you're standing the whole time.
Wait, I'll tell you a really good story. And again, this is success. Okay, it's the definition of success. I had an event once, and we had a live auction, and we had this really great. I had a contractor donate. They were going to build a patio onto your house. Build a They were going to put the fire pit like built into the patio, and then I had a Home Depot donated like the Adirondack chairs. It was this whole big. It was like a $15,000 value. Okay.
Nice.
The gentleman who ended up winning it lives in a condominium.
That's success.
I will never forget. He was walking out at the end of the night, and I just, I wanted to introduce myself to him and do my, donor cultivation. I was like, "Sir, thank you so much. Wow, I can't wait to, see how take pictures, send them to me." And he looked at me and he goes, "I live in a condominium," and I was like. Thanks for your support. He was like, I guess
that's
I'm just
funny.
gonna gift it to someone. I was like,
Wow.
so that's how he was just so into it. He did say, he goes, "This event was so beautiful, and I just really wanted to give to the cause."
Yep.
So we did our job.
The messaging in the moment. Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh,
condominium.
jeez.
Yep.
Oh
So
yeah,
there
we
you
both
go.
got, and we've been so familiar with Chep, so it was like, you
You
again, we went to have fun, but we knew we were raising funds.
you're there
So
to raise
you
money.
have the checkbook in
Yeah.
your hand because you know you're going to spend
Yeah.
it. It's just that Jack was a little better than I thought he was.
That's awesome.
I didn't go to
His
that.
nickname is now $500 Jack.
Oh my god!
Because I
that's
can't see him without
hilarious.
writing a
Oh,
check.
I'm listening to this.
I've still got. I got to yell at Kathy because they're supposed to come on. They need to schedule to come on.
Yeah. They've been busy
I
with
know.
stuff. They're
Oh.
opening up a store and
Yeah, they've got a lot
They
going
just
on.
had
They do.
one whole tournament. I saw.
they've got the golf tournament coming up.
golf tournament
Yeah.
coming up, and they do have the apparel line now.
Yep.
Which
Huh?
which I am like, it's brilliant. So they have an apparel, like branding an apparel line. So if a nonprofit works with that, so any for-profit or nonprofit works with them, you can get all your apparel through them. The funds go back to CHEP, but then the nonprofit can also, as part of those funds, can then also go to the nonprofit.
So what you're trying to
Brilliant.
tell me is CHEP has their own shirts and hats and everything that
Yeah.
the public can buy?
Well, they
no.
they
So like an apparel,
take care of
like,
it.
I mean, they might have that
Right.
too. No, but they have an apparel line. So like a business, Joe Ayler could go to them for Tar Heel Construction and get all of his hats, whatever he needs, printed
Through them.
through their
Through
apparel
them.
Through
line.
CHEP?
Yes, through
Really?
them.
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
Telling you, Jack's amazing.
Jack's amazing. He's making it all happen. Sports for Charity, that's their new. So like if you want to have, so, my daughter plays soccer. If I want to host a soccer tournament and have the funds go to, I don't know, American Cancer Society, I can call CHEP. CHEP will manage the entire tournament, handle all of that. So I'm paying them to manage it. So they're getting the funds, but then I can help a charity that I care about too.
Wow.
He's brilliant.
Brilliant.
I mean, he
That is
is.
smart.
I went into the fundraising arena in 1988. So I'm really showing my age, but and I started at Calvert School. So I mean, Bob Carter from Ketchum, I just started Ketchum, taught me everything. I mean, I
Okay.
learned from like the best. Jack is absolutely the most brilliant fundraiser I've ever met.
Yeah.
Ever.
No. It's and again though, it's because he comes from a business background.
Yes,
He
but
treats it-
don't tell him I said that, because then he'll go from $500 Jack to $1,000.
I have to cut that part out.
So you have to cut that part out. No, but I mean, it does bring up a great point, and I've had a lot of conversations lately about this again, and you said it like you do. You have, your nonprofit is a business, so you have to look at it like, okay, so we're raising funds for the charity.
Mhm.
However, you need to have assets. You need to be able to have enough
be
money in the
creative.
bank and be creative. But you have to have enough money in the bank so that you can sustain. Like, what are you know? And again, business plan is important, and forward thinking is important.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
so today I want to do X. What do I want to do in 5 years? What do I want to do in 10
Yep.
years? Where do I see this organization in 15 years?
And that's part of the purpose of the board, is to be your strategic thinkers, your big
Absolutely.
picture
Mhm.
thinkers, and then you drill it down from there.
Yes.
Mhm.
For sure.
How often should a nonprofit have an audit?
Every year.
Annually.
I would do it
yeah.
every year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
And
From an outside source? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Well, and there's reviews and
Yeah.
there's audits. So if you're just getting started,
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it does depend. If you're just getting started, a review, and then I think the more assets you have, then the more necessary it is to have an
Yeah.
outside audit. But
Okay.
that's why, too, having a board member
who can
who-
be a CPA
yes,
and answer
who
those
can-
questions.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
And just, from a volunteer standpoint, look at the books every once in a while.
And be looking at
Definitely.
those reports at every board
Mhm.
meeting and in
Mhm.
advance of the board meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
In advance, yeah. But yeah, that's a whole. So one of the things that I do with my business is.
By the way, what is the name of your
Oh yeah, so
business?
the name of my business. I
Level
know we
Up?
haven't even said that. So it's called Level Up Your Mission. That is the name of my business. And I had someone tell me the other day, not the other day, this is like a month ago now, so now I'm using it. People said that I'm like the Jerry Maguire for nonprofits. Like, yeah,
That's
someone told me,
good.
show me the money. And when he does that thing where he's like, I am out here working for you.
Now all I can think is the kids doing that TikTok thing. Show me the money.
money.
Oh, yeah, that's the last person. Like, what? Maybe I should do that.
My grandkids get him on that every time they see
That's
him.
awesome.
So yeah, so basically, that's funny. Okay, so I guess I'm like Jerry Maguire, but I want to help nonprofits do what they do better. So, am I going to run your nonprofit for you? No. Am I going to, coach and consult and sort of help you get to where you need to be? Absolutely. And again, the board conversation comes up all the time. All the time. Because again, it never fails. Do you have a board? Yes. How are they doing? Terrible. Okay, well, let's talk about it. And again, it's not always the board member's fault. It goes both ways. So one of the things that I'm trying to do is I actually have created a template. I've done 2 now where I will come in and do a board retreat. So,
cultivate.
Yeah.
And
So the executive director will organize it. I've done half day and full day. I've done 2 now. and I will facilitate it. So I will help create the agenda for the day, bring the entire board together. We might sometimes have to go back to basics. If it's looking at board chair or board, member descriptions and looking at, okay, what are the expectations? And these are board members who've maybe been there for 5 years, but we got to go back to the basics and then come out of that meeting with, again, maybe different roles. Maybe you, Rich, were the board fundraising chair, but we've discovered in this retreat that that's not the right fit for you. So we're, shifting you to a different
marketing
role.
or something.
I also think, and a lot of
recruitment.
times there's pressure put on the ED in order to get this one's leaving the board. I need a name and I need it now and blah blah blah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Especially
they're
with
not
national now.
yes, and the EDs are not looking at this position. Would you hire this person
Right.
to work in your company?
Yeah.
Well, because you wouldn't.
Right.
So why
Why
would you
yeah.
put them on the board?
That's a great
And
point.
they're not
Yeah.
looking at it that way.
And like you said, the pressure. I mean, again, I worked for national nonprofits where
It's a lot of
sometimes it was
pressure.
just I had to get the numbers. I had to meet numbers. I had to have the right amount of board members. So I would just be like, okay, come here. You look cool.
You're breathing.
So
Let's go.
It does. It happens, unfortunately. And you really do need to be more strategic about it to be successful.
Do you think some of the nonprofits are messing when it comes to the boards? Some of the nonprofits, and we mentioned it briefly, like they're just asking people. But do you think what they may also be doing is, and it's not really in a way it's their fault, but it's also the people that are serving on the board's fault. Like with me, do you think they're looking at people because, they serve on this board, that they're hired? They're in other words, and again, I blame the board member. They're sitting on too many boards.
Yes.
They can't get full.
Yes, that
focus
should
on
be
that.
one of the questions in the interview is, do you serve on other boards? That can be
Right.
And in what capacity?
Right.
And
I mean, I personally, if someone tells me they're a board chair, then they don't have time. I mean,
Right.
a board chair should honestly be putting a lot of time into
they should
the
be
position
on
that they're
one
in.
board.
So that's number one. But, again, some people do have the capacity. So I think just understanding it isn't wrong for you to ask, could I talk to the executive director of the board that you're currently on? There's nothing wrong with that.
Great idea. Yeah.
There's
That's
nothing,
a
again,
great
you would do
idea.
that in an interview, wouldn't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
I mean, so
Reference.
right.
Yeah.
So let me call so and say, and especially in Harford County, you know, hey, how is Greg on your board? They're gonna say great, but so bad example. So yeah, and again,
who?
will the executive? Look, the reality too is, we all, there is competition though too. So is the executive director, gonna want to have him pool his time? Maybe not. So, but I think that as a whole, we are a very collaborative community. And if it's, and two, it's what is the mission too? Like, again, if someone's serving on a recovery, board, and now I'm asking them to serve on a board for, I don't know,
Cookies,
Girl Scouts, right, that is very different. So again, maybe now they do have, because it's such different missions, but if it's very similar missions, then I would say that
could be a great fit.
Yeah.
Could leverage the relationships, the partnership.
Anywho. So
All right.
yes, it's a whole boards. Wow, that's a whole thing. On that note, though, since we're talking about boards so much, I didn't know that was the conversation. I am in September. So last year I hosted a retreat for nonprofit professionals. It was mostly for executive directors and development staff. Greg was one of my speakers talking about strategic planning because it's very important. And we actually talked about social media in that one too, because that's a really big component that I think nonprofits, again, you have to do, but aren't doing it well. But hold tight on that note. So the one I'm doing this September, though, is going to be, I'm inviting nonprofit professionals and board members. And we're going to be talking about volunteer leadership, how to recruit a board, how to keep a board engaged, and how to make sure everyone's working collaboratively. That will be in September.
Social media.
I knew we were going to go there now.
Well, no, and here's the reason, because, just a year or two ago, you had to have so many followers on social media. And it was social media. Basically, now it's interest media.
Yeah.
You don't need the followers. It's the organic stuff that you're putting out there. That's what's going to attract people. Social media marketing has changed, and it's going to change even more. So when you're doing something like that, every year it's got to be revisited.
Yeah.
And
It is.
Because of I thought you saw a snake or something. Because of how there's not right. No, but because of the way social media and even advertising
No, it's true.
has changed so much.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Well, and that point is very valid. So again, as you're hosting events too, and you're, putting out sponsorship and you're putting out the benefits, right? Like it used to be you get an ad in a program. Well, a lot of people aren't even doing programs anymore because, I mean, it may be a smaller like dinner, yes, but, at a large event, no, I'm at a 5K, I'm not taking a program, but we did used to do that.
Yeah.
So
Right.
now everything's, it's more digital. So it's like, how are you appealing to, like, you also have to meet the sponsor where they are. Like a lot of sponsors, they want that social media. They want
Right.
that,
Right.
tag of my, they want maybe I've even done it where I've offered at a higher level sponsorship, you get a Facebook Live. I will come to your place of business and you get an opportunity to do a Facebook Live on the nonprofit page. At Pathfinders, it worked really well because they have a huge following. So, again, as a business owner, you're offering me a Facebook
Right.
Live to 15,000 people. Heck yeah, I'm going to do that. So again, that's going to be a better opportunity than you're going to get an ad in a program that literally they're going to throw in the trash can. So, it's like
rain.
okay. But yeah, social media is a beast.
Oh yeah.
And you make a good point because it is so hard because people fixate on, oh my God, I have to have this many followers. But you can have, I've seen any business, not just nonprofits. I've seen businesses with a few followers have great success.
Yeah.
And then I've seen businesses that are like, well, I don't understand. I have 10,000 followers and I'm not seeing success with my business.
And that's why it's important that people keep up on it. You mentioned Facebook Live and Meta. Is it Meta?
Meta.
Has already come out and said, I think it's in June, where your Facebook Live videos will be gone.
Oh.
So all those videos you did, if you didn't download them and save them.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So they're still going to offer, like you can still do a Facebook Live.
I don't
but
know
it's
if they're still going to offer Facebook Live or not.
Is that on business or personal or both? Do you know?
I think it's all all together.
Into this.
The thing is with social media is still important, but like I said, it's becoming more like interest media. When social media was created, so you can. There was one created years ago. I think it was called Path. You could only have 140 followers max. That was it. It was perfect.
Yeah,
it was perfect because you can have so many followers that don't even have any interest in what you're talking about because they're from other countries and all that.
Yeah.
You see it all the time. One thing with nonprofits, and this has been a pet peeve of mine, not just for nonprofits, but businesses and everything. Branding. How important is it for the executive director to put their face out there?
Oh, okay. So you're talking about branding from the standpoint of the executive director?
Well, for the people in general.
Branding the organization.
I would say the founder.
Can it be helpful to have the executive director or the board chair serve as the face of an organization?
I will tell you, yes. The answer is yes. And I'm going to tell you, if you do look at
like Pathfinders
from a social media standpoint, well, yes. I mean, BJ Surhoff, I mean, obviously, yes, he should be.
But
he should be
seriously,
out there.
if it wasn't him, do you think it would have taken off the way it did?
That's a really interesting question. I think that they are doing tremendous. I think they filled a void that was not. There was no database of resources for the autism community 25 years ago. So they filled a void. Would it have taken off as quickly? Maybe not. But I do think that they've just done such a tremendous thing for the autism community. But back to what you said, though, if I will say I do for nonprofits, I will look at their social media and I will review their content and sort of come back to them with a report to say, here's the photos or videos that are getting the most likes and guess what they are? It is when it is a video of the executive director speaking, a board member speaking about their, testimonial. So to answer your question, yes.
And be careful what you post too, even on your personal
be careful what you
profile.
post. And also, listen, again, some executive directors aren't, they are nervous in front of a camera. They don't like to put themselves out there. So, maybe
put your
it's not
voice out there behind the logo.
Maybe you could put your voice out there. Yeah. Or
have a
again,
face
maybe
for
that's
radio?
where the board it could be a board chair. It should be someone within the organization. People love to see, especially I actually think they love to see the board members the most, because then it's like, wow, this is a community leader. It's not even paid. They're doing this voluntarily, but they care so deeply. So I think when board members post, like again, Joe Ayler is a prime example. He does a great job posting about the charities that he cares about.
That's true.
And people resonate with that. So yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's important. Obviously, if someone is awkward though in front of a camera, that could backfire.
Right.
But I still, they get the like Patrice Bullock is a prime example with Bailey's Heart and Soul. I say to her all the time, I'm like, Patrice, you got to do more videos, because whenever she does a video, it gets so much engagement, so much. And then people share it because she's just, she's speaking from the heart. She lost her child. This is, and what she's doing is also filling a void. I mean, the fact that she is teaching people about CPR and AED, the importance
pass
of AEDs,
legislation.
legislation. I mean, she's doing such tremendous work. And when she speaks about it, people listen. So she's a great example of like, I need her out there all the time. I'm like, Patrice, just do videos.
All right. So trick question for you.
Oh, no, a trick question.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. With this, the podcast, how many have you done so far?
How many podcasts have I done?
Yeah.
Two. Yeah.
All right. Do you think that nonprofits should be getting on more podcasts because it's free marketing, free advertising?
1,000%. That's not a trick.
Now, wait a minute.
Oh.
I'm talking about everywhere, not just local podcast, but nationwide.
Yeah.
Okay.
How though?
What do you mean how?
Like,
Well,
are you? Is this a leading question?
No.
Okay.
This is something I've always said. If you have a nonprofit, get on, and whether you're an author, and I always say, especially when it comes to branding, don't focus on just your area.
Oh,
if you don't want to get your name out there worldwide, then why'd you start a business?
Great,
or a nonprofit, because people do move to other places.
Right.
But no, I mean, because I talked to different nonprofits from around the world.
Yeah.
And that's how I learned about other things and businesses.
Yeah.
And it's easy.
Well, and again, it's how you can also like see what's working, what's not working.
Yeah.
I mean, again, working at national nonprofits, I've learned so much about, markets are different everywhere, right? So like, I was working out of the Baltimore market, and then I had to go up to Pittsburgh, and I'd be like, all right, you should do this, this, and this. And they're like, that's not going to work here in our community.
Yeah.
So it's like you learn what works. But also, to your point, I mean, the world is a very large place, but it's a really small place. So if you talk about your nonprofit, I don't know, to a podcast that's going to reach people in California, that person's probably going to know someone here in Maryland that's then going to open up doors.
Or
for
if
you.
it's a mission that resonates with them, they might still become a giver.
Yes,
Right, exactly.
Absolutely. I'm going to wait. So I'm actually on that note, I'm going to tell you, and this organization is I need to call them and tell them what great job they're doing. So I went to Napa Valley last summer with my husband, and we went to this private wine tasting at this vineyard. It was the most amazing night of my life. And the owner of the vineyard was the one that did this private dinner for us. And he said, I'm not charging you a penny. However, I support an organization called the Red Barn Project. They are out of, I think, Colorado. And it is a horse farm that provides therapy, to people with disabilities. Okay, so of course my husband and I were like, "Oh, this dinner was fabulous." So I think we made a $500 contribution. Right. Okay, that was a year ago. They continue, and again, so that wasn't social media, it wasn't podcast, but same concept we're talking about. So we gave because it was a dinner that we would have paid $250 a person for anyway. So we made a $500 check donation. They sent me a thank you email. That was lovely. I got a card in the mail. I got a picture of I have gotten so many emails and like handwritten notes from them.
Just touches.
That guess what? My husband wrote them another check recently because he was like, this is why people give. A picture of a girl on a horse who they were helping.
That's why your big nonprofits like Easter Seals and everybody is so, they're still successful the way they are.
Yes.
It's that personal touch.
The personal touch. But also, I would have never known. Right. So, I mean, that was an example of I was there in person. But if I, I would never have known about an organization out in Colorado if I
Right.
hadn't.
If you hadn't been,
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
absolutely. I mean, you make a great point. If something resonates and I'm hearing it and I'm listening and I go to learn more about them, they're
Mhm.
going to open up
Well,
so many doors.
And what we said in the beginning too was how, do your research before you want to start a nonprofit, because there may be several other types
Yeah.
here. Somebody in, I don't know, Bangladesh or whatever, hears this and says,
I hope so.
oh, I'd like that type of nonprofit, and we don't have anything like that here. You're giving them ideas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
the reason I bring it up too, because when I had Pathfinders on, I got a message from somebody out, I think it was in Washington State, that heard about them years ago, but
Aw.
didn't realize they were still around and was excited to hear that.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's,
That's really cool.
yeah, it's just, you never know.
You just never
Yeah.
know.
You know?
Yep. I love it.
Good stuff.
And I think too, I mean, at the end of the day, again, you kind of started with it. I mean, the idea behind nonprofits, like people do ultimately, we all have big hearts and we want to give. And I don't know how you guys feel, but like I think we all want to like leave a legacy on this earth. Like I want people to say, wow, Katie was a really giving and caring person. And you can do that. It doesn't mean you don't have to start a nonprofit to have a legacy for yourself, for a loved one. You can be involved and you can be extremely involved, and you can, really take a nonprofit to the next level just by being on a board or by serving on a committee or being a volunteer.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
you
mean,
can help them level up their mission.
Bam!
Wow, he's hired.
he had his Wheaties
Greg,
this
Greg, I think we're done.
Yeah, I think you just dropped the mic on that. Yeah, you're done.
That was really good.
No, because they don't know the website or anything.
So, funny story. I don't have a website. And yes, I know. From a branding standpoint, I should, but I'll be fully honest. No, but somebody asked me that the other day, and I'm going to create one. I need a landing page, but I have honestly just been since day one, I've been so busy. It's been word of mouth. It's been just me out networking. We didn't even talk about networking today. Networking's huge. I just go out and I just talk to people and I connect. And so I don't have a website. I have a Facebook page.
Landing page is important, though.
I know.
You
I
get
need
that
help more.
landing page up first.
That's what Hannah and Evan did first. They started with a landing page before they did a full website, and it was a place to go
Just to
find
go.
all your social media. And
The thing is, and I know it's not really off topic, but when it comes to the website, and this is where a lot of people mess up, they make it all flashy and everything.
Right.
It's keep it
simple.
Keep it simple, stupid. The old KISS method still works with it.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something from it as I did. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I'd love it if you could leave a review. It helps us reach more listeners and share more incredible stories. Don't forget to connect with us on social media or visit our website at conversationswithrichbennett.com for updates, giveaways, and more. Until next time, take care, be kind, and keep the conversations going. It takes a lot to put a podcast together. And my sponsors help out a lot, but I also have some supporters that actually help me when it comes to the editing software, the hosting, and so forth. There's a lot that goes into putting this together. So I want to thank them. And if you can, please visit their websites, visit their businesses, support them however you can. So please visit the following: Real Life Prosthetics, cutting edge solutions, restoring ability since 2001. Go to reallifeprosthetics.com. Full Circle Boards. Nobody does charcuterie like Full Circle Boards. Visit them at fullcircleboards.com. Sincerely Sawyer Photography. Live in the moment. They'll capture it. Visit them at sincerelysawyer.com.